Hello, Donna here. Welcome to my channel, Transcending Trauma. I just want to make a little quickie video about emotional sobriety and about, some more of the little bit of people sort of just get over it when you live through abuse or very traumatic or complex trauma, which could be like complex is it's complex, but also where it's ongoing trauma. They can call narcissistic abuse death by a thousand paper cuts. So, when there's ongoing trauma and the nervous system is getting hijacked over and over again, it's not meant for that. Our fight or flight system is meant for you know, just it is meant to protect us during danger, the fight or flight. In society and in ongoing trauma, where your nervous system is being activated over and over and over again, we tend to fall to alternative things such as fawning, fixing, fantasy, what was the other one? Freezing, like getting stuck. The only two real, true, innate that are come in our system are fight or flight. And then when we can't do those things, like during ongoing trauma, like as a child where there's, trauma, abuse going on, or during domestic violence where, it's a situation that it's not easy to just extract yourself from, you get an injury to the nervous system. So, when it's being activated all the time, the body learns how to mutate, how to overcome with alternatives. And those are the alternatives. They're not good for you. It's not good for you to be activated all the time. But then you have to heal that injury. They can actually see it on MRIs and that. The amygdala, the emotional part of the brain, gets more highly reactive, the front cortex and that slows down. So, the thing is, it's like very hard to take action, which, fight or flight is action. Freezing, fawning, fixing, fantasy is non-action. And so it's really hard to take action when your nervous system is constantly hijacked. And when it's constantly hijacked like that, you don't have that reasoning and that logic to make healthy choices. You're in primal mind. So so it's there for that quick fight or flight, but when it's constantly pinged, it just can't take that constant ping. So it has to come up with alternatives. So, emotional sobriety for me is like taking things out of my life. Like we also get stuck in that chronic state, of that activated nervous system. That free Spira program that I talked about, it's a breathing program that changes the physiology of the body just through practicing breathing so that you're not in that state all the time, because we're always in that state sometimes, but it's the more after trauma and abuse and during trauma and abuse, we're in it more often. So, we're prone to fantasy, we're prone to freezing, we're prone to things, like think of those things that would come from that. So, how do we get ourselves out of this chronic state of that part of the nervous system? I always forget if it's the sympathetic or the parasympathetic. I think it's the sympathetic. I think the parasympathetic is the more rest and digest. Again, why a lot of people with histories of trauma have stomach issues and digestive issues. So because they're not in rest and digest often enough, they're in the fight or flight system. So emotional sobriety really helped me. I mean, one, getting out of the situation, like staying with an abuser, you're going to get your nervous system activated. That's what's going to happen. You're not going to get them not to do that. They're going to activate your nervous system. And then like just being careful of who I allow into my inner circle. If I notice it's someone that I start feeling those pings of my nervous system, it's really hard because when you're when you're already in that active nervous system, you don't really even notice the pings, um, because it's just a chronic state you're in, so it just feels normal because you don't notice the pings because you're constantly pinged. But it's starting to bring in your awareness and noticing. It's doing practices to relax yourself and noticing the difference between your body being relaxed and your body being activated. And then noticing who activates it, and getting those people out of your experience. We're going to come along them in life, but don't let them in your inner circle. Don't allow them in your daily life. And then it becomes also just internalized. That's where the emotional sobriety comes. You internalize the habit of being hijacked, of the nervous system being activated. And just, I learned to change my inner dialogue and my outer dialogue. So I just want to give some examples, and then it's already running longer than I wanted it to. But I'll probably make another one on it because I think it's important. So the emotional sobriety went from like, it's, think of it like activation is like volume, it's intensity. And, deactivation is calming. So activation can look like, this can be part of the fantasy thing and and it creates suffering. So like we're saying like someone that's mistreating you and saying, or that's, rejecting you or abandon you or is not in your life, and calling them things like soulmates and twin flames and it's my long lost love. Like think of how activating that would be to the nervous system. That would create a lot of longing and, and pain because a person's not there. It would cause a lot of internal suffering. Like, why would I want to do this to myself? So like letting go of that kind of talk and those kinds of beliefs, and like bringing in some logic, like, oh, did this person activate my attachment system? Yes. I wonder what about them reminds me of, you know when my system was created, my attachment system, which is in the first 18 months of life, and what reminds me of my past history, even though the brain will say, no, 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 it's a different person, it's a different person, but it's the same behavior, different person, but same behavior. Like, yes, little different interests, different this and that, but same behavior if you really peel away all the stuff. And, and then saying, what did I like about this person? What did I love? And then that's what I want in a partner. Not the other stuff, not the abusive stuff, not the stuff that triggers and activates the nervous system and hijacks the nervous system. It's okay, some, excitement in that, but when it's hijacked, and there's no logic and reasoning, that's not good for you. And then just watching my language with things, anything, like just where, like, instead of saying, I use the work example instead of like, oh, I have to go to work. No one has to go to work. Those are choices. We have choices. And if I choose not to go to work, I face consequences, which is lack of stability and security that comes from being able to put a roof over my own head and, food on the table and that. So, like watching it, like I don't have to go to work, like making it more like, oh, I'm going to work, or it's time to go to work. Not, oh, I have to go to work now. And I can even say it, I noticed I would even say it in a simple way, like, oh, I have to go to work, but even just noticing that language, I have to. It's very, yeah. So I started saying, oh, time to go to work. So just watching my language on things and like look at the intensity, like be honest with yourself about when you're talking about something, what kind of intensity you're giving it. And yeah, becoming emotionally sober has really helped regulate my nervous system and put the executive function back online, my reasoning and logic. And it's not an either or. That's what mindful is being. It's being, your emotions are data. They are important. It shouldn't be all emotions or all logic. Neither. It should be both. It's logic with an emotional context to it, both. Like I said, with the trauma, it goes straight to the amygdala, so it's all emotion. And some people can get caught in what's called Okay, cognitive bypassing, where it's all logic, no emotion. Should be a beautiful blend of the both. Emotion is data as well, but they should not overtake your whole system. So, emotional sobriety, you can even just Google the word, and that's what I did, and it's really helped me on my healing journey. Gotta go. Peace out.